Welcome back to Stubbs Aquatics. This is the first episode of the pond rebuild. It's been raining non-stop for about, well, I would say a good 2-3 weeks. So it's been a long process. We're going to have to start removing some rocks, moving some filters, because I want to drain the pond. But in order for me to drain the pond, I have to wait it a little bit for the ground to dry up. Because what would happen is the water pressure from all the groundwater will push on the old liner and just make a heck of a mess. I can't have that. Now today, it's the weekend. My son and his family are here. They're going to help us out. But because it's sunny out, we might just have to have the first beverage of the spring. So come on with me and we'll follow along. Cheers, everyone.
My son and his family came up for the weekend, and we decided to get an early start on working on the pond. It was a whole family event. I really enjoyed that. Had all the extra little assistance I ever needed. It was a lot of fun to have them here. Anyways, it's time to get to work. Anything about child labor laws? After all, we did have to get the filters cleaned, as we had to set them up into the 2 holding ponds. Really needed extra filtration, because I'm going to be putting a lot of fish in both these ponds, and hopefully they're only in there for a week and a half to 2 weeks max. These Laguna filter falls have worked well for me, but I'm going to have to keep up with water changes, because this just isn't enough filtration. At least I don't think so. But we'll see what we can come up with. Really am going to have to keep an eye on this for the next few weeks. Well, we decided to save a few of the plants on the side of the house. That way we didn't lose all the violets and the bleeding hearts and a bunch of irises. So that was important for me to save them, because they've been growing there for 20-25 years, and why ruin them? You can see I've got a few foremans making sure the job's done right. And of course, what would ponding be without a frog? That being a bullfrog. That's Fred the frog and our grandson Jackson. Fred doesn't move around a lot and doesn't mind actually if you touch him.
Say hi. Slow. See, I just met him, so he's nice. Very slow.
Well, back to work. We decided I didn't want to get into the pond yet, so we're going to make it difficult and lift the rocks out from underneath the deck. This isn't going to be fun. Thank God my son's in shape and is nice and strong, because I don't think I could do this much anymore. I tried to give it a try, and man, these rocks just got heavier, and I got, well, I'm more out of shape.
You got it? It got heavier.
I really should have just got in the pond and lifted them out, and it would have been so much easier. But oh no, I didn't. That, and I hadn't drained the pond down, and I didn't want to spook the fish any more than they already have been spooked. Well, now that it hasn't rained for a few days, I can start draining the pond. And that was one of the big holdbacks, is we just had so much rain and I didn't want water pushing back in as I was draining, because that can be a nightmare. Well, I've got about 2.5 feet of water out of there, and there's still a few feet of water to go. But I'm going to hold off simply because I'm not going to be able to get it all done today. And it's going to get cool tonight, and I didn't want the water super chilling. The fish are hungry, as per normal. They don't seem to mind. Now I got to get all these water lilies out. That's going to be a nightmare. They are going to be so heavy. But being that I like the natural look, I want to keep the water lilies in there. Man, this liner's old and needs some work. It's 25 years. Well, it hasn't really let me down yet, but I was going to take the chance. So my 30 by 30 liner is coming in soon. And I got to get it dug out. But first, I got to get it all the way drained. And, well, I've got to get into the pond to move all those water lilies out of the way and then catch the fish. This water's going to be cold. And these boots, well, they're about as old as this liner. And, well, the water's coming in pretty quick. And it's not that warm.
You know, it's great to have a leak in your throat.
Playing in the water brings back memories as a kid, but I certainly remember it a lot more fun when I was a kid mucking in the water than I do at 60 mucking in the water. Especially when this stuff is getting just so heavy and everything's, well, it's still pretty cold. It's still been getting down to, you know, just below or just above freezing at night. And, well, that makes for chilly water. It's going to warm up over the next few days, so I really have to get going here and move these fish. At first, the lily's got to move out of the way. Then I can really get going here. I've lost my helpers. It's just me today, so I'll get as much done as I possibly can. Man, I can't wait for that new liner to get here. Just other than the fact that it's going to be several hundred pounds to carry. Going to need a couple of big lads to give me a hand. I know it's going to be heavier than the last one because it's bigger, and, well, none of us are as strong as we used to be 25 years ago. Well, enough of this standing around. I got to get cracking. Jesus, is heavy. And these water lilies, well, they tend to stink. But they're great for eating up nitrogen. And, well, I really like the natural look of the pond. I'm just going to make sure when I put them back to have them placed a little bit better. Because they used to really bloom. And with this crab tree overhanging it, they just weren't getting enough sun. So things will get changed around there. Plus, I'm changing the whole flow of the pond. And the lilies can't, well, they can't interfere with the flow, as in where you're going to put your skimmer box, because you want everything to be diverted towards your skimmer box. And I've decided not to go with a bottom drain. I know a lot of people will be going, you need a bottom drain, you need a bottom drain. Well, they scare me, and dealing with Canadian winters, I was just afraid of the pipes rupturing over the winter and, well, losing all my fish. The whole idea of the rebuild and the new liner was to make it safer for the fish, and I wanted it deeper anyways. If I hadn't mentioned, I'm going to go up another 6 inches to a foot on the sides, and then down at the deep end I'm going to bring it down another 2 feet, because where I'm standing right now is only about three and a bit, and then as you go further down it gets to 4.5 feet, and that's just not enough for the Canadian winters. I really do want to get down to 6.5 to 7 feet if possible. That would make me feel a lot more comfortable, and I'm sure it would make the koi a lot more comfortable. Well, I think it's about time to start catching some koi. I'm going to separate them into areas where, well, some I'm going to keep in certain ponds from now on, and others I'm going to move on. These are some of the small ones I caught. And let me know what you think. All these to me are going to be keepers, and they'll probably end up in my top pond, that being the one that's already 6 feet deep. I think I'm going to keep my smaller fish up there for now, I really like the looks of this. Now that I've got the water drained almost all the way down, it's going to be really easy catching these guys, and I won't stress them out or myself out. Now, a lot of the fish that are going up top, I haven't decided whether I'm going to keep or not. Some obviously are going to be keepers, but like this one, it's going to get moved on. I mean, everyone has their own likes and dislikes on certain fish. I guess I really shouldn't use the term dislike. More, which one you like even more. And certain ones have some real sentimental value. Like this Hiutsuri, it's definitely going to be I'll be keeping that one. This one, well, it's a bit of a mutt, but I like it, so I'm keeping it. This Sankey's not that bad. I think I'll be keeping that one as well. This Showa, I'm definitely keeping, and it's going to go in my deeper pond for now. Same with this one here. It doesn't have the best markings in the world, but I really like it. Another one that'll probably move on. I'm hoping to move on at least 3 or 4. That way there's more room for the smaller ones to grow. Haven't really decided what I'm going to do with all the fish yet. I do know one thing. I'm not going to be adding any more koi. How many of you have said that before and laughed? Well, I'm really not. At least that's the plan. I think I have enough koi and enough varieties that'll keep me happy. Well, now that the pond is totally drained, I'm just going to wait a day or two and hopefully everything dries up. It'll be really much easier taking everything out. Well, that's about it for this week. Next big step, let's get the rest of the crap out of the bottom, cut the bottom out of the liner, and start digging. I'm going to leave the sides on the liner just to protect from roots. But man, look at all those rocks in there. Now, I did a huge error when I first put this in 20-some years ago. I was led to believe, because I really didn't research enough, that rocks at the bottom would be good and beneficial. What a pain in the arse it was to take most of those out, but there's still a lot left. This time, there'll be no pebbles at the bottom, unless the kids throw them in. Well, I guess there'll be some then. It's coming. Well, thanks everyone for joining me for the first installment of Stubbs' rebuild of his main pond. Boy, can't wait till it's done. Those are a lot of rocks that we moved. Holy crud. And you don't even see most of them. Such a pretty tree. Magnolia and the crab. But they all end up, yeah, you guessed it, in the ponds. Oh well. Major cleanup ahead before we go into the next one. Anyways, if you like this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Think about subscribing. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.